There we are.
Good afternoon, and welcome to season number 2 of the Baseball and Beer Podcast. I'm your host, John Nee, along with my co-host and beer expert, J.R. Nicholas.
Hello.
First, I'd like to start out today by, since you wore the shirt, congratulating
Go Birds!
the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. What a run that was. Hopefully, we'll get the same kind of finish this October from the Phillies. And,
Yes.
We'll be down on Broad Street celebrating again. Long time coming for this Phillies team. We thought we'd have one by now the last 3 years after getting there in 22. It's been a little disappointing the last 2 years, but hopefully things will change this year. So with the start of spring training today, we wanted to jump in this year early with a podcast and discuss what the additions and subtractions that Dombrowski made to the team this year in the off season. And the few jobs that are up for grabs in spring training. There's not a lot, but we'll jump into that a little bit, and we'll go from there.
A lot to talk about there, Johnny. I know there's a lot to unpack.
We have a little. We have a little
more
bit.
right through it. Yeah,
we do.
Go Phillies. This
so
is really exciting.
So what are we drinking here?
Yeah, let's do this.
Let's
jump
in.
Talk some shit about some beers. We're drinking some Vault from Yardley, PA. This is Chase U a Lot Lager, American lager, pretty crisp and clean. I have very high expectations. This is a great brewery. If you're ever up in Yardley, go to Vault. Their kitchen's outstanding. Great food.
Yes, it is.
I approve.
I remember we were there a
Cheers,
few years ago. Cheers. A few years ago.
Yes,
That's where I
during
got
the pandemic. Yes. We're out back in a tent.
Good place. So anyway, let's jump right in. Let's start out with one of Dombrowski's moves. We'll start with his trade. So Dombrowski traded top prospect Starlin Caba, who was a middle infielder, shortstop, second baseman type.
Blocked by Stott and Tree Turner.
Yeah, basically blocked by Stott, Turner, number one prospect Aiden Miller at bomb over at third. So, they traded Caba, who was also a top 5 prospect, over to Miami for Jesus Luzardo, left-handed pitcher, easily a number 3 on most teams in the league. He'll be our number 5, which is outstanding.
Now, was he injured?
He was injured last year, so
okay.
he's coming off an injury. All accounts say he is healthy. The Phillies did their homework on him, and
okay, good.
They went ahead with this trade, and it's a major upgrade over Walker and Allard and Phillips and everyone else. They tried in that 5th spot last year, which basically became almost
revolving door.
Almost became an automatic loss. Unfortunately, down the stretch there,
Allard had one really good game against the Royals.
Allard,
remember?
He had a decent game.
Phillips
had a few.
Games. Yeah.
Yep, Phillips had a few. I believe they brought up Seth Johnson, who they acquired in a trade for either Soto or Dominguez. I forget which one right now from Baltimore. He got lit up. So they threw stuff out there, see what would stick to the dartboard, and nobody really did in that 5th spot. Kind of was really a sore spot in September, and it really reared its ugly head come playoff time when game up that really sticks in my crawl is when Suarez battled and could only make it through 4 innings,
right? And
Thompson went to, I believe, Hoffman in like the 5th.
Yeah, guys were coming in too early. There was
they had no one. They
were kind of gassed. Yeah,
they had nothing to go to, and it really showed at that point.
Yeah.
And quite frankly,
they weren't very deep out there.
For a team with World Series aspirations and a big payroll, that was really a spot where Dombrowski, I believe, dropped the ball at the trade deadline, not anticipating that happening. So this trade for Luzardo will not only give them a top 3 rotation, if not the best in baseball.
I think it's really good.
It will.
He pans out, sure.
It will put someone in the bullpen, whether it be Suarez, Luzardo at the end there, because you only need 4 starters in the playoffs.
Suarez is a health concern. Like if he's not going to be able to give you 5 or 6, and he does, and he gets hurt in a month, his days as a starter might be over.
They could be numbered. The trouble I see with Suarez this year is it is a contract year for him. He has not been signed to a long-term deal from the Phillies. Scott Boras is his agent now, so I could see
they have the leverage there.
I could see some problems there at some point if the Phillies were to try to move him to the bullpen. He, him and Boers are going to fancy him as a starter, and he is a starter for the Phillies right now. But he has had some back issues and all.
Yeah.
He would be the obvious choice to go to the bullpen in the playoffs since he's been there and he knows how to do that. He can give you multiple innings,
two innings, yep.
easily. So that would be the move I would do. You also have the issue of Andrew Painter is going to be available hopefully by July. The Phillies are going to keep him on a strict innings limit. He won't pitch in any games in spring training, but he will throw bullpen sessions.
Oh, okay.
They want to keep his innings limited this year. But they are expecting him in the second half of the season. Now, will he be here as a starter? Would it be a sixth starter?
I think so.
Would they bring him as a bullpen guy? I don't know what their plans are for him right there with 5 health. If they have 5 healthy, he could be a guy that could pitch out of the bullpen again, multiple innings like Suarez could.
But that's
come playoff time.
I'd rather see him be a starter.
Yes, I mean he is a starter, but
we're hoping for the best.
But on an innings limit, they might not really be looking to really stretch him out this year. So I'm thinking maybe more of he'll start here and there. He might be an opener,
I just
3 inning
for a young
guy.
pitcher like that. I don't know if the bullpen coming in, no set role. He comes in. I'm sure he can give you a couple innings, but I don't know. I'd like to see him be a starter.
Well, let's be honest here. The Phillies have a history of putting people in positions they're not used to. Moving outfielders or infielders to the outfield, and Schwarber to left field, instead of DH, and then Baum comes over to first, but Harper sits. So you never know what the Phillies are going to do there.
That I'm okay with. Like when Baum can play a month or two at first, a game or two at first.
They're also kicking around, maybe putting Real Muto in left field a couple games this year.
So that's a dumb idea.
And Sosa as well going to the outfield. I believe I think it's dumb too. But hey, that's what the Phillies.
Trey Turner can play in the outfield out of anybody
possibly
because he's a good athlete, and then you have other options if you were to play Sosa more.
Here's a good move.
We talked about that last year.
Well, this would probably be the best move. A team, that's has a payroll like this, and they're going to compete with the Mets, Braves, and Dodgers, and try to get to the World Series. And how about having 5 outfielders? Like most teams would. You have your 3 starters and have 2 bench players. And instead of talking about putting a catcher out there to get a right-handed bat, but that's for another time. So the move for Luzardo that we went to Dombrowski,
we'll about that later.
I'll give him an A+ for that. That was a great move, and it could give the Phillies the best rotation in baseball.
And that says a lot. The Dodgers are looking pretty solid.
Absolutely. The Phillies will compete with the Dodgers in the starting pitching department. That is one spot they will be able to compete with them.
Better than the Mets and Braves.
I believe they're better than the Mets. I believe slightly better than the Braves right now. But Atlanta, you never know who they're going to roll out of the minors. What next 20-game winner is going to come up that we never heard of and step in. Schwellenbach last year, and they moved Lopez over from the bullpen to a starter, and he excelled.
Where did Fried went somewhere?
Fried, I believe, went to the Yankees, and Charlie Morton's gone. So they lost a couple guys, but
they always seem to figure it out.
It's Atlanta. They're going to replace them guys. They're going to replace them, no problem. And then they're going to get a big boost sometime around probably May or June when Strider and Acuna come back. So the Braves are the Braves. They made the playoffs last year. It's probably one of the most injured teams in baseball. So
how about it?
They're going to be right there. The Mets are going to be there, and the Phillies are going to be there. So let's delve into Dombrowski's next moves for the team. So they did not sign Hoffman or Estevez, who were both high leverage back end of the bullpen relievers. Maybe Estevez is probably going to be overpaid. Hoffman was a little overpaid, and
Royals or something.
Estevez went to Toronto after. So
no, I thought Hoffman went to Toronto.
Yeah, Hoffman went to Toronto.
Right. You said Estevez.
I'm sorry, my mistake. Hoffman went to Toronto after. He apparently had deals in place with Atlanta and a couple other teams, Baltimore, and failed a couple physicals. So maybe there's something we haven't heard about from the Phillies. They like to keep injuries close to the vest. So maybe that was why the Phillies, maybe they seen something and decided it would be better to move on. So with that being said, they did move on, and they signed Jordan Romano, who is a world-class closer with Toronto, 3-time All-Star. But is also coming off a major injury, so you replace an injured with an injured.
Yeah, not really gaining much.
So if healthy, hey, look, Romano's a stud. If healthy, and all counts, like Luzardo, are showing that he is healthy. So Estevez, trying to replace him, they went the route of Joe Ross, who is he's like a swingman type pitcher. Back beginning of the bull, 5th, 6th inning type of guy in the bullpen, an inning or two, and could give you opening as a starter for you. He's done that in the past, a couple innings. So that's kind of a meh move for me. You lost 2 back end guys, you replaced them with one that's coming off an injury.
Setup guys. Yeah.
And maybe the bullpen, look, the starting pitching, thumbs up. That went up with Luzardo.
Yes.
The bullpen, I think, may have regressed a little bit. May have took a step back.
Chime in about the bullpen. So yeah, good point about losing those 2 guys and bringing these 2 guys in. Who's our closer?
Well, hopefully it'll be Romano, but again,
okay.
Topper likes matchups.
I want to see Kirk Aaron maybe get a couple saves here and there.
I don't think you'll see him per se.
He's going to set up.
Yes, I look at Kirk Aaron as
Strom.
Yes,
he's going to take over.
He's
going to take over the Hoffman role. Him and Strom.
Yes,
in the 7th, 8th innings.
I believe Hoffman and Strom will be your 7th and 8th inning guys.
Kirk Aaron.
That's right.
Strom. Yeah. Kirk Aaron replaced Hoffman. Him and Strom. Strom was the guy. That was a great when they upped his contract. That was a good.
Yes, that was a good sign.
Strom.
Yeah, they'll be his. That'll be the 2 guys that you'll see in the 8th inning, 7th innings. Hopefully Romano's the closer. Hopefully goes that route. I wouldn't rule out. If you're playing a team like the Mets and they have a couple lefties coming up, I wouldn't rule out Topper going to Strom to try to get it closed. Yeah. The other 2 guys behind them, you're looking at Ruiz and Alvarado. I really don't like. I
don't like Alvarado as a closer.
I don't want to see them guys in the 7th or 8th. Maybe the 7th inning.
We've talked about that time and time again. Like Alvarado is good in the 6th, 7th. He can finish.
That's it.
That's it. And he needs to clean inning. We don't want him coming in with guys on base.
No.
He's going to walk the first batter.
He's a little wild.
He has
control issues.
We've seen that from the movie before.
I think they're set up right now the way it looks at. Romano should be the closer. Karen can get a shot if Romano say close 2 games in a day and they need someone.
That's kind of the point I was alluding to.
Who'll use Strom in that position against lefties, I'm sure, once or twice. I'd like to see, Ruiz and Alvarado be kept more towards the 7th, and then you go with a guy like Ross and Banks in the 6th.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the mop-up guy. As of right now, being that he's owed $36 million over the next 2 years, it looks like it's going to be Walker. It's Walker's job to probably lose in camp. $36 million, $18 a year. That's a lot to just say. You know what? Let's just cut this guy.
No, give him a chance.
Apparently, his velocity is up in the 90s right now, 92 to 94.
It's just that we don't really have a place in the rotation for him right now.
No.
And if he can be like a long guy, say someone has a bad game, and say, I don't know who would.
He'll be the mop-up.
He could come in say he came in the 4th inning. He can get you he can bridge the 2-3 innings, 2.5 innings, get you to the setup guys, and
Sure. In a perfect world for me, he keeps his velocity up in spring. 92, 94 he was at the other day when pitchers and catchers reported.
He's healthy.
He was in the 80s. Yes, he was injured.
We like that. He's healthy.
He was in the 80s last year, which ain't going to cut it in the pros unless you're a Jamie Moyer or Greg Maddux can paint the corners, and Walker could not. Hopefully, what I would really like to see there, they did make an interesting move. They signed a Japanese pitcher, Iogi, and he was a 3-time All-Star in the Nippon Japanese League. He's 31 years old. He's a sidewinder, like Kenta Colby.
Oh, boy.
So that's something different. The Phillies haven't had a whole lot of Japanese players in their history, so that's good to see them get one in there. He's a guy that maybe could compete with Walker for that 8th spot. Look, in a perfect world, in my opinion, let's see Walker pitch good this spring.
Sure.
And maybe Dombrowski get a hold of Pittsburgh, Oakland, a small market team, and say, hey, look, we'll take a low-level prospect. We'll eat a year of his contract.
Sure.
We'll eat $18 million. You guys take the other $1 million.
I like it.
And for a team like Pittsburgh, if he's thrown in the 90s and they can get him on, 2-year, and now it's an $18 million deal. If the Phillies eat $9 a year, that's kind of in their wheelhouse. Maybe we get a low-level prospect. Maybe basically just washing our hands of Walker. Because, look, he's been a starter his whole career, and I'm sure he's not going to be happy sitting in the bullpen as a mop-up guy. Who would? So that's something to keep an eye on, something we can, hope that happens there. And again, I'm going to say the bullpen is probably regressed a little bit at this point right now. All right, what are we on here?
Yeah, I think we've wrapped up the bullpen.
Looks a little darker now.
So we got a Czech style amber lager brewed in Pittsburgh at Cinderlands, which is one of our favorite stops.
Yes,
and we'll be there June 6th, 7th, and 8th to see the Phillies out there. Cinderlands is one of many that we'll be going to in Pittsburgh, along with Trace. We got to get the Trace. and there's another one called 4 Points or something. I think it's down by the casino.
We will be there.
We're gonna hit a couple new places, and
And
of
along
course
with Penn Brewery.
yeah, well, we're gonna go there
Haven't
before
tried it.
checking the hotel. Yeah,
All right,
that's
we'll try
we
it.
kind of do other stuff, and I don't know why we never went to Penn.
That was a little off the beaten path. I kind of remember.
No, but isn't it like just north or just up the river from? It's not that far from where we're staying, but we keep going to our regular places
Spot.
and stuff. So, but this is give it a sip, Johnny. It's a little different.
Looks good.
It's gonna be a little malty.
a little dark?
Yeah,
Not bad.
amber lager.
Not bad.
Yeah, well, it's
Might
roasty.
not be something I want to
Very-
drink in the summer.
No,
You know, when we get to Cinderlands,
Roasty
but
is actually really good.
not bad right now on a cold winter day out there right now with the wind whipping
It is winter.
and this and that.
Don't get me
So,
started about the weather.
and again, Cinderlands is one of the breweries that we frequent when we go to Pittsburgh. And again,
Love
we'll be bringing
Pittsburgh.
we'll be bringing you a couple snippets like we did last year, 2-3 minute videos
Absolutely.
from each brewery we hit.
I think we'll be underneath the highway in the parking lot and just make it our own little K lot home and maybe do a little podcast underneath in the parking lot.
be something we
of
do.
the Marriott North Shore.
Something we do as well. All right, so moving on to the final
Another one to talk
free
about.
agent move.
Okay,
Dombrowski signed an outfielder, Max Kepler.
Yes. I'm all right with it.
Left-handed hitter. He's got 20 to 25 home run power. Here comes a familiar theme here, folks.
Yes.
Also coming off a major injury.
Also coming off a major injury.
So it seems like the Phillies winning this year probably a little bit up against the cap and the luxury tax. And maybe Middleton told Dombrowski, like, let's get a
dial
couple.
back a little.
Make
No
a
more-
break.
we don't
Yeah,
need a
We're not-
$200
we're not
million
crossing into the next-
$200 million player.
they're not going to the next threshold.
You know,
So, what I understand they're going to do with Kepler, they're going to try to make him the everyday left fielder.
as they should.
He's a left-handed hitter.
He's got power, man. So
He does,
if
20
he's
to
healthy,
25
yeah,
power.
yeah.
But here comes the drawback. He fits right in with what ails the Phillies come playoff time. He's a career .237 hitter, and he struggles against left-handed pitching. So, we'll talk about that a little later when we get on to the bench spots that are going on. An okay move. I guess it's an okay move.
it
You know,
is.
What it'll do. What it does is it forces Rojas and Marsh into a platoon in center field,
Which we're fine with.
which I am fine with because
yeah.
I don't believe Marsh struggles against lefties.
Yes.
Rojas struggles at the plate. I believe they could together as a platoon in center field. They could give you maybe 15, 18 homers. Bat somewhere around 260. They should definitely steal some bases between them.
Yes.
Rojas and
Come
Marsh
on,
can
Rojas.
both run.
Get on base.
And they'll play a solid center field. So I'm
Yes, he
okay with
does.
that platoon there. That takes, basically one will be in the lineup, the other one will be on the bench, so that takes one of the outfield
I like
two
Marsh
outfield
coming
bench
off the bench
spots.
sometimes. You got a right-handed reliever. Got Marsh sitting there on the bench. Throw him out there. He can come in and play defense.
Yes, that could-
He could.
it
There's
could-
a lot of
Look,
flex.
Look, with Castellanos in right field, and
he's going to play every day.
Yeah, he's going to play, and you're going to have, like I said, the platoon of Rojas and Marsh, and then Kepler in left. What I believe will happen is we're going to talk next. That was the free agent.
Are we going to segue to the bench? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, we'll
For left
segue
field
into the
option
bench.
for-
So
yeah.
speaking with Kepler, we might as well stay right there with the outfield spot. So
Right.
two spots again. Marsh and Rojas account for one of them starter and the one bench spot, which leaves one bench spot open. So it appears right now in camp they're going to go internally, and it's going to be Stevenson, Weston Wilson, and Cody Clemens vying for that one spot.
I like me some Clemens.
Cody Clemens is out of options.
Yes.
So to try to send him to the minors, they could lose Cody.
I
So
want to do that.
that may give him the inside track to that job.
Well,
but
I also like Clemens as far as like spelling Harper. He can play third. I mean, he
can.
a lot of options with.
Well, here's the problem
A lot
here.
of upside to Clemens.
the problem here is the four bench spots.
Right.
Catcher, an infielder,
Yes.
two outfielders. We already know Rojas and Marsh
Right.
will platoon will
So
take
there's
one of the
them
outfield
that- one of
spot.
them is like-
So we have one
technically
outfield spot. We do not have an infield spot because Sosa will have that spot.
Yes.
So
And he earned
basically,
it.
basically
I
that
think
puts
Sosa's solid.
the outfield spot for me. The fact that Kepler's going to struggle against lefties, I would think the Phillies would want to go
right-handed
with
bat.
Weston Wilson,
Yeah.
who was a right-handed bat.
Right-handed, yeah.
Stevenson and Clemens are left-handed. Stevenson can go to the minors and play every day. Wilson can go to the minors and play every day, but you need that right-handed bat. Clemens, for me, like you just said, is
Yeah,
more of a
yeah.
corner infielder. Third base, first base, to try to put him as the fifth outfielder, there's really no advantage. Him and Kepler are both left-handed. You gain no advantage there.
Yeah.
Good. They could try to trade Clemens. He has proved that when he does come up, he has a little bit of power in that bat. He'd be a good fifth spot on the bench. Unfortunately, the Phillies just do not have the infield spot for him. So I like Weston Wilson here.
Okay.
The Phillies are talking about giving Kepler, making Kepler an everyday player. Do I see him starting 150 games out there?
Not really.
Absolutely not.
No.
They're going to face some tough lefties, and we all know Topper likes, he likes that lefty-righty combo. So Wilson will play some games if he is the fifth outfielder. If they do not go out and make a move in the spring, they could sign a free agent if they like someone better than Wilson. But I think I'd go with Wilson, give him the shot, let him play.
The roster's pretty set.
He could play 30 or 40 games for Kepler out there against a tough lefty. And
Baum did not get traded.
Castellanos is still here. So basically, I think I would like to see the outfield of Wilson win that fifth spot. Maybe I think it'd be fair to they'll lose Clemens if they try to stick him to minors. Someone's going to take him.
No.
I may try to move him, see if I can get anything for him. Most teams probably know the situation the Phillies are in, so they wouldn't give up much. But he's a nice player. I like him. It's just a numbers game. We just don't have space.
It would be
for
some
him.
kind of prospect that we're really interested for down the road, like 2 years down.
Yes.
The road. You know, maybe something that we could develop.
I just don't see it happen. I think he'll be here with them unless he's really tearing it up, and the Phillies, can call a team up and say, look. We're going to go with Wilson. He's available to another team. So if someone really wants him as a bench player, they could make a move.
Clemens filled in for Harper with the back and stuff like that.
He played well. He played
really fine player.
I would love to see
happy.
I would love to see Clemens make this team. I mean, if he was a right-handed bat and could play left field, I would take him over Wilson. He's out of options, like I said, and Wilson can go back to the minors again. But I think Wilson is probably the right spot. So. If Wilson takes a spot, you got the Martian, Rojas, Platoon, so one of them, that's your two outfielders. Sosa's the infielder. Brings us to the backup catcher position. And
alrighty.
This gets interesting as well.
Get after it, Johnny.
So Stubbs is signed. And Rafael Marchand, who has had trouble staying healthy, but when he has been up, has proved he can more than, he can hit a little bit.
Yeah.
And Stubbs has struggled. So Marchand is also out of options, which I believe makes him the front runner for the backup jobs. They could stash Stubbs down in the minors. Alas, he could send him to the minors. He'd be on a big, kind of like Kingery. Yeah. Kingery sat down there with a big contract.
Sucks for Stubbs.
It does, but he just hasn't produced offensively, Junior, since his first year. So they could stash Stubbs down in the minors. Go with Marchand, who was probably better offensively, and to be honest, maybe better defensively. Like, hey, look, this team has no one.
They need.
On the horizon to back up JT right now.
He goes down as much anymore. JT's not going to play as many games.
He's not. And I don't believe you go into a year and say, hey, look, let's catch JT, say 115, 120, and catch Stubbs 40, 42 games, 45 games. That's a lot. Probably too many for him. Could Marchand carry that load? Yes. Offensively, he could.
No, that's a valid point. Yeah.
So if he can stay healthy in camp, again, they have the luxury to send Stubbs to the minors, and that would probably be the move that I think they would go with. You don't want to lose Marchand. You don't want to just let. Someone's going to take him.
No,
someone will take
him.
as they will Clemens.
If something goes sideways and somebody gets hurt, JT could get hurt.
JT could very easily get hurt. It's a demanded position back there behind the plate, and someone had the bright idea to even try him in the outfield. So God forbid he dies for.
Whose idea was that?
Gets management and that Topper. I don't know. Do I think it's going to happen? No. May he shag a few fly balls in spring training? Yes.
Why?
So I think they'll actually put him in a game position where he would be a left
What's
fielder. God forbid if he dove for a ball, hyperextended his arm, an elbow, whatever.
How'd that work out?
If he's going to get hurt, let him get hurt catching.
Yes.
That's where he should get hurt.
So he's a catcher.
That would be silly.
Crap.
Wilson get more than look. I know they want to get him off his feet more, keep him around 110, 115 games. There's a real simple way to do that, folks. He could catch his 110, 115 games. Everybody knows Harper is not playing 162 games.
So
JT could go to first base for say 10 games. Schwarber could take 5-6 games off against a tough lefty. Even though he hits lefties okay, you could give him a few games off. JT could TH there, so you could easily catch JT 115 games, find another 15 at first base.
Right, you want to manage that with off days and stuff, how they kind of like rocking, give them a start. You got an off day the next day, stuff like travel, all that. You try to give players extra rest when you can factor in the off days. So that's pretty.
Well, what else we got in Washington? We seem to be going down rather smoothly.
Yes. This was that good?
Yeah, that was good.
Nice. I think we finished it. Yeah. No. Here. Take
I'll take a little more.
Take a little more, and then we're gonna crack this can from Workhorse from King of Prussia.
Another good brewery.
Really fine brewery.
Anybody local, if you get a chance to get out to King of Prussia off Church Road, great place. Workhorse.
Yes, off of Church, off of Crooked Lane, almost in Bridgeport.
Excellent place.
They don't really have a kitchen, but they have this giant trailer
Let's go with the new
food truck thing there.
After that,
I don't know anything about this beer. I would Google it, but I'm really kind of lazy and tired today. Liquid Sweater Double IPA.
That's all you need to know. A double IPA, folks.
I'm a fan of Workhorse, so I have pretty high expectations of this. I will finish that in a minute. Let me pour some of this. And what are we talking about next, Johnny? We're going to go.
So that pretty much that kind of like
we're going to get after it at spring training.
That kind of went after everything I wanted to cover as far as like the trade for Luzardo, the free agent. So,
do you want to talk about our division rivals, or do we not want to go?
We can go wait a couple weeks in the spring training, but we could look like this. So, I guess the question I'm going to ask you here. So the moves we made.
Yes.
And I guess on a lot of people's mind, and I've been seeing a lot of chatter online and on different pages I'm on, Phillies pages.
Yes.
Are the Phillies better this year than they were last year when I last spoke at the end of the season, wrapping up a disappointing loss to the Mets? I believe the Phillies are pretty much the same club.
Pretty much the same thing.
Their offense.
Maybe the pitching's going to be a little bit better.
The starting pitcher is better. I believe the bullpen has regressed a little bit.
Okay.
And the offense, I think, is probably pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Now, is that good enough for the first half of the season? Absolutely. This team won 95 games last year. They won the NL East. Again, they came up short in the playoffs for the second year in a row. A lot of people say the third year in a row. Look, folks, I will never say this team came up short against Houston the first year, 2022. Their first year making the playoffs in a long time. They did not come up short. They just flat out lost to Houston. It was a better team. So did they come up short against Arizona and the Mets? Absolutely. They ran into two hot teams. We've seen that back in 2009 when the Phillies ran into the Yankees in the World Series, 10 and 11 when they ran into the Giants and the Cardinals. Look, folks, baseball, the Dodgers, all that money they spent this year, that does not mean they're going to win anything. They're going to win a division most likely, but they're going to be knocked out in the first round.
Lose, John. Like, just how are they not going to win that division? I feel like the Giants did nothing.
The Phillies with the division last year. You're going to win your division. Better teams will win their divisions. This Phillies team right now, in my opinion, look, they're going to murder the third, fourth, and fifth starters every time they face them. They're going to murder the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth guys out of the bullpen. That's just the way they are.
Sure.
The trouble lies in when you hit the playoffs and you're facing the top first two pitchers 4 times in a 5-game series, and the top 4 guys out of the bullpen. The Phillies have struggled. Yeah. So are the Phillies, in my opinion, the Phillies right now are built like they were the last 2 years. They should come in somewhere between 90 and 94 wins.
I would hope so.
They could win the East. If not, they're going to be a wild card. They're going to be in the playoffs. The big question this year, is this team ready to get over the hump in the playoff against good starting pitching, good relief pitching? Will the offense pick it up? And can the bullpen do a little better job than they have the last 2 years? The starters have been good, and the bullpen's kind of let us down. At the moment, I would expect, why would we expect anything different than we've seen the last 2 years? None of these guys are going to change. Turner, Harper, Castellanos is not going to stop swinging at balls that look like a beach ball on a windy day on the beach. You know what I mean? Curving 5 feet outside. I don't want to just blame Nicky. They're all free swingers. Harper, Schwarber, Turner. But,
Will the Mets pitch? Will the Mets pitch?
It just depends on, like, in my opinion, the Phillies
they got a great lineup, and I think them keeping Alonso was a smart move.
The Mets are going to be tough. Yeah, the Dodgers again. The Phillies didn't make any sexy moves this spring. They just added. They lost a few. They added a few. They kept the team pretty much the same.
Yeah.
With that being said, Middleton is on record saying money is not an object. He is willing to cross into the next threshold if it's the right move. So, I think as fans, and we need to hold them to that come that trade deadline, and I think the team will know they're going to know come the deadline. Are Marsh and Rojas the center field? Are they cutting it? Is Kepler and Wilson cutting in the left? Do we need to add another bat there? Maybe they do, maybe they not. Maybe Kepler and Wilson and Marsh and Rojas are producing like in '93 when we seen Incaviglia and
Right.
Thompson and Chamberlain and
That's a-
Eisenreich.
that's a big
Very
help
easy.
for
And
it.
I'll
Yeah,
even
yeah.
throw in there
Yeah.
Sosa and Stott platooning a little bit because
Yeah.
we know Topper's going to do that, and that kind of brings me to the Morandini and Stocker and Mariano
Yeah,
Duncan
yeah,
back then.
yeah.
That worked for the '93 Phils and could work for the 2025 Phillies. I believe
One more thing I'll talk about.
Go ahead.
No, it's just I didn't.
the one
didn't-
spot
go
I
ahead.
really believe we'll see the Phillies make a move. It may not be in a lineup like that. Their offense might be fine. They might think they're good. They might stay with that. Their starting pitching should be good. You know, Andrew Painter coming this and that. I believe they'll add to that bullpen come playoff time.
Woo!
Good one. I didn't even take a sip of
Johnny,
it yet.
jeez, it's big. It's big, Johnny. One thing I wanted to ask.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted
Okay.
to ask you. and
Whoa, yeah, that's
you
got a
can-
little bit.
Yeah, it's got quite a kick. One final point. One thing you can address is okay. What are we going to do with the lineup? Is it Schwarber? Is it Schwarber?
There's a little talk of them putting Turner up there,
I'm
Harper
seeing
second,
these- I'm
Baum
seeing
third.
this whole
I kind of
thing,
like that.
yeah,
I kind of like.
I kind of like.
Hey,
it,
look,
but
that's
Is it? Can we just get it sorted? Like, can we figure it out and like kind of keep it consistent?
just stick with it.
Stick with it.
I think
You know what
I think Topper maybe what he's seen the last 2 years in the playoffs. Yes, I do believe. I believe it's going to be Turner, Harper second, Baum third, Schwarber fourth. Right now it looks like Castellanos fifth,
Yeah,
Stott sixth,
sixth.
Realmato seventh,
Seventh.
Kepler would be eighth, and
Yep.
then Marshall Rojas. So you're
Right.
basically
Yep.
left to right, left or I'm sorry, right left, right left, right left, right down the lineup, which is a good way to do it because that really.
I like
that
it.
takes relievers out of it in the eighth and ninth inning when you want to bring a lefty in and they're going.
I like it
left,
until
right,
Schwarber's striking out of time and not producing with guys on base. like it's like shit. Like he used to lead off new, but then
So Schwarber's on record saying he doesn't care where he bats. He's not
Good.
He's not locked in
good.
a number
He's-
one spot.
he's
A lot
good
of
guy, man.
a lot of fans like to
Let's-
think
let's-
Schwarber has to
Let's
bat
figure it out
first.
and win. Figure it
Yeah.
out, win some games. Hit the hit. you
Harper
know?
said he's a 3-hitter. He's on record saying I'm a 3-hitter, but he would bat second. The only spot he doesn't want to bat is first.
Turner steals bases.
Turner steals bases. I mean,
Harper steals
Hey,
bases.
listen, Bryson Stott's another guy you can throw up in that one hole if you
Yep.
want to keep Harper in the 3 spot.
I
maybe
like Turner up. Stott Turner. I want Turner leading off.
It's a big year for Turner right now.
Yeah.
Turner with his contract and look, Aiden Miller's the number one prospect in this organization right now. Painter has dropped to number 2. Miller's on the way. He probably won't be here this year, most likely. You know what I mean? But next year, I mean, look, Turner's got to put up some numbers for the Phillies to start thinking about. All right, do we want to think about moving Miller to third base, second base? I mean, it's a good problem to have. You know, Baum maybe
it
first
is.
base.
I like the good problem to have.
Harper back to right, who knows? Or Harper DHing, and maybe they don't re-sign Schwarber. I don't know. I mean, me, I would re-sign Schwarber. I'd like to see Harper go back to right field when
I
Nathan
think-
Miller's
I
ready.
think, Schwarber gets two and an option, something like that. Right?
Yeah, I'd like to see them hang on them. I mean,
Yeah.
most likely. So Castellanos in his 4th year of a 5-year deal, so he's here 2 more years. I would say that's
going after
probably
that.
it for Nicky.
And JT
So-
is like, I don't know. We signed JT like year to year or something. I don't know.
That would probably
You know,
he'd
like,
probably be looking for himself a 2 to
he
3 year
probably
deal, which
might
I think
not happen.
I think you almost have to, unless Marchand
Yeah,
really
yeah,
shows
yeah.
that he
Right,
can
good
cover
point.
that
Yeah,
job and he's a
that's-
backup.
That's all to be figured out in the first half of the season.
Yeah, we have a
You know,
catcher in the
like-
minors, Eduardo Tate. He's young. He's 19. All accounts looks like he could be the
Right, we
catcher
don't-
of the
we don't-
future,
we don't-
but he's still young and raw.
We
So
don't want a situation where we pay
Years
a guy
away.
a lot of money and he's kind of like not producing and stuff like Walker. You know, we're paying him all this money.
Yes.
It's like shit a couple
Yep.
years ago. So, you know, I don't want. It would be sad. It would be sad for us to see JT, you know, get an extension and just not produce, not perform.
Hey, look,
it would be a bummer. You know, it'd be like, fuck. You
he's
know,
an
and then
exceptional.
what-
He's an exceptional athlete.
Yeah.
Keeps himself in great shape. So the worst case scenario with JT is his
Yeah.
offense drops off a little bit,
Yeah.
and he's still a great defensive catcher for you. So
Okay.
I can live
down
with
in the
that.
lineup. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
down in
agree.
the
I
lineup,
agree.
batting
I
7th,
agree.
batting 8th. Hey, look,
It's just a matter of how much are we going to pay to have him do that. You know what I mean? Like, we're
True.
going to give him a truckload of money to be not hitting and stuff. You know what I mean?
I would think almost at this point of his career.
I will pay for defense certainly, but what? How much, John? Like, well, you know, that's something that the
here's where I think-
management has to kind of assess. Like,
Here's
what are
where I
we
think the
gonna do?
Phillies hold the leverage here. Other teams in baseball also know JT's age and realize that he's
Yeah.
probably getting towards the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, he can, he can DH, and maybe he's like a part-time catcher and DH, and you know what I mean. Like he's gonna, but that might not be with our organization.
No,
Like,
no.
you know what I mean?
I think he stays. I think they're going to. I would see a scenario where
I love JT.
they approach him maybe in spring training, maybe during the season, and they give him a a contract, 1-year contract with a team or player option for the next year, a 2-year type of deal. I don't know what the numbers would be. I don't know. They'd have to sit and discuss that.
Okay, can I discuss one more contract? How about the Bregman of the Red Sox? That's a lot of money.
Sure.
Jeez.
They're all getting paid a lot of money now, dude.
120 for 3 years. The guy's like 30. How old is he? 30-something years
He's
old.
up there, but hey, baseball's out of hand with the contracts. So I mean,
That's a lot of
kind of
money.
like basketball. So
What do you? I mean, I'm all happy for the Red Sox fans. Don't get me wrong, but that's a lot of dough to put out for a guy who, he's proven he's a solid player. But but he's not a young guy.
no, he's not a young
And
guy.
if things go sideways for him, Red Sox Nation's going to be super pissed.
I think they'll be all right there.
I don't know. It's a lot of money. I mean, I'm happy for them to get Bregman. It's great. He's not a Met or a Brave or something. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But
Like Soto going to the Mets.
Yeah, like Soto going to the Mets. What are you going to
Still
do?
makes me
We
sick.
kind of knew that. We kind of saw that coming.
Everybody saw that coming. Yes, he was never. The Phillies were never involved in those talks.
No,
even though they would've
it's
said they
all-
were. And
that's all
I was
crap.
kind of hoping he stayed with the Yankees in the American League out of our hair, and
Out of our
he's
hair.
going to be, he's going to be a thorn in the
He was
side.
going to
of us
be
for the next
Yankee
10
or a
years.
Met,
Yes,
and now he's a
I
Met.
think he was always going to be a Met. And
But the question I had earlier was, are the Mets going to pitch? Because if they don't, they're going to rely on that offense to score
They're
a lot
gonna-
of runs to win games.
I think that team's going to.
You know what I mean?
I think they're going to rely on that offense
gonna
to
be an
score a lot of
offensive,
runs.
like-
Alonso, Lindor, yes,
They're
yes.
a crazy good line. They signed Jesse Winker, dude. They signed like 7
Yeah,
or
they
8
kept-
players. They're pretty
pretty much-
stacked.
They kept their team, but their one of their pitchers they signed this year, Frankie Montez, is out for the next 6 to 8 weeks with a lat strain. So they lose a pitcher there. Clay Holmes, who they signed from the Yankees, a reliever, whom they're going to try to make a starter. I'm not worried about. Senga's back for them. I'm not really worried about the Mets pitching per se, even though they did kind of shut us down in the playoffs.
They're going to
this year,
hit.
but-
Well, I think that was just timing wise. That was like to your earlier point about getting hot, just firing into the playoffs and just kicking ass. Let's see if they can do it again. I think they're going to hit and they're going to win some games. But I think Wheeler, Nola, Suarez.
we have a
Let's
solid
not
rotation.
forget about Sanchez.
Sanchez had a great year
So we
last
got-
year.
we
He's
got
only going to
pretty
improve.
solid,
Luzardo.
solid rotation. So
Yeah, I just
I
think that.
have pretty high expectations.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
our rotation.
Right now in spring,
One of the best.
I would
One of
put-
the best in baseball.
I would put this team right now. I think they're going to win the East again, and they're going to be back in the playoffs. And
I do too. I think we can totally win the East, but it's going to be a battle, man.
and for me right
Braves
now,
aren't going away.
as far as can we beat the Dodgers in the playoffs and get to the World Series and win this thing? I think it's probably going to take, like I said earlier, a trade deadline move for a reliever.
Yeah.
And-
We're going to be talking about the bullpen all first half of the season.
I think they're okay for the first half. Again, like I said, though, when the playoffs start, there could be a guy like, could be Luzardo in the bullpen. It could be Sanchez and then maybe Painter. So that will help. And if they make a move at the deadline for, another high leverage reliever, I really want to see this team sign Tanner Scott
have
this
some
year.
more. I don't really like this.
They did not, but what can you do there? So I do think that'd be a spot that they might add. I think the lineup will be okay. Look, I'm not really. A lot of people get hung up on Marsh and Rojas can't hit. They're batting ninth, folks. I mean,
Yeah, who cares?
Play good
Well,
defense.
hey, Rojas batting ninth is all right. He's
Yeah,
like a leadoff.
Hey,
hitter.
listen.
When he starts
This
into the later innings.
team needs to hit 1 through 7. I'm not worried about Kepler, Wilson, and Rojas and Marsh in the 8th and 9th spots. Whatever they give us offensively is a plus. And like I said, I think that it's up to the stars to hit in the playoffs this year. It's up to Harper, Castellanos, Turner, the guys that are being paid handsomely. Get it done.
Get it done.
Harper, Harper, I'm putting
Hit.
you on the clock. Hertz was on the clock for the Eagles. He went out and won a Super Bowl with that team this year. You know what I mean? Nick Sirianni,
Yeah,
Topper.
yeah.
You're
Get
the
after
Nick
it.
Sirianni right
Get
now.
after
It's your time
Let's
to
hit.
get out there
Score
and
some runs.
let's win this thing
Let's
this year.
steal some
I feel-
bases too, right, Johnny?
Everything.
We'll be talking about
back
that.
to small ball, stealing
Small ball, little
bases,
small ball.
everything we need to do.
Do what you
So,
gotta
folks,
do what you got to do.
in closing,
Again, yay birds.
we'll report back to you maybe with sometime around the middle of spring training, and then maybe one more before the start of the regular season before we go on a weekly basis. We're going to try to get to some more breweries this year.
Of course,
a couple
we are,
local
John.
Delco
There's no coffee
beverages,
shop
breweries.
podcast for us. So.
No, well, we're going to try to interact with the fans a little more in K-Lot tailgates,
Yes.
pregame. Maybe
Yes.
go around, speak to some
K-Lot.
fans, this and that. Of
We'll be
course,
drinking the K-Lot from Workhorse. Yeah, that's
Yes,
actually
doing
we
that.
had. Did we have that on the end of the season podcast last year? We drink that K-Lot beer on
we
this
may
show?
have. We may have.
It's a really good beer. The guy from the Howard Stern show was drinking it. Tailgating at the Eagles.
Yeah, we'll have it out again. So again, we'll be in K-Lot coming live to you from there. We'll we'll do our little snippets when we're out in Pittsburgh, from each brewer we hit, and
I might go to DC if the weather permits on the 29th of March.
opening weekend.
It's a Saturday.
Yeah, what-
Do an overnight.
Maybe a park and a
Do
nice
some
hat
other
on, pair of
other
gloves.
half. I would love. I
45
would love
degree
to-
baseball
I don't
game.
give a shit if it's a 4:00 game. Who cares? Do a little day sip.
Not a
Check in.
not a big fan of the season starting in March this year. by the way,
we got
First,
we got
second
a
week of
long-
April,
we got a longer
okay,
play-
but-
we got a longer playoff stretch to manage, and you got to manage that with the possibility of rain and stuff.
True. Just
Hence the Friday that most teams have off after the opening day on Thursday.
March is just too damn early for baseball, in my opinion.
I'll be
folks. But
skiing, so-
it is what it is. So
I'll be getting to baseball games in between ski trips.
Yep.
Yeah, so.
shit, you might be able to ski in Washington. It could snow their opening weekend. Who knows? Just ski down the fucking. Ski
I'll wear
down
my
the
goggles
ramp,
to the game.
Steps to the stadium. Who knows? But anyway,
All right, we're
folks,
gonna drink this. Not on
One more,
camera.
go
No,
ahead.
We'll crack it after we turn this thing off.
Well, let 'em know what you got.
We got Crusher from the Alchemist up in Stowe, Vermont. NEU. Oh, hello.
Hey,
we have
what's
a
up?
visitor.
Hey, whoa.
Fee. There you go, girl.
we got a
There
little
we go.
someone stepping in the way here.
No,
Come
she
on
wants some. I don't think it would be good for her. She'd probably kill her. Stowe, Vermont, great brewery, The Alchemist. All you skiers out there know about it. We're gonna crack this after we turn this thing off. We've been talking for over 40 minutes. Cheers, everyone.
Yeah, one of our longest ones. So, folks,
cheers.
in closing again, we're looking forward to bringing you a good year of updates on the Phillies and the breweries that we like to frequent and the beers we like to drink. Feel free to spread the word around, share our videos, and looking forward to entertaining you folks this year.
Yeah,
Thanks. Have a great night.
Go Phillies.
Go Phils.
Let's go.
All right.